Yay!
Yes. You can hear me?
Hey.
Or do I need my headphones?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
No.
Crap.
No. I love it. All right, nobody's on watching us yet. We'll see. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. You can hear me. I can hear you. Nice.
Okay. Do I need headphones?
No, I can hear you pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, let's wait a couple minutes and see if we can get some people on.
I have headphones, so just let me know.
All right. Hopefully we'll get some people on here to join us. All right. Somebody's popped on. Nice. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Gonna wait just a couple of minutes and see if we can get some people to join us here. All right. I hope we get some triplet moms on tonight.
No kidding.
Moms and dads. Moms and or dads.
Yeah.
What's up, Diana? Diana always joins. She's my little #1 fan right there. She says, "Hi, Kim."
Hey.
Yeah, you're gonna have to turn that volume down there, buddy. My husband's decided he's gonna be in here.
Are your kids asleep already?
They're in bed, yeah. Whether they're asleep, I don't know. But we've got this entire house, Kim. It's a 4-bedroom. There's a garage that's a man cave. There's a living room that's got a nice big couch with cable and even like Roku TV to watch whatever the heck you want to watch.
He misses you.
No, where's Tim?
He's outside.
Yeah, where he should be. You hear that, Lars?
I'm in my underwear. I can't be outside.
Well, you know you can't get up for over an hour from that spot. Oh, my goodness. My goodness.
Yep.
How are you doing this Sunday evening?
What time is your live? I said 8 o'clock. He's like,
yeah.
All the kids to be quiet. I said, I have a
You
live
gotta
at
be
8.
quiet.
Quiet.
I told him if you're in here and we just put the kids to bed, what that means is somebody's going to knock.
Yeah.
Someone's going to knock. And my husband's in his underwear. That may be a little TMI, but he should probably have put some pants on.
Because he can't leave now?
Well, because he can't leave or answer the door.
Yeah.
Did you lock the door so nobody pops their head in?
I did not.
You did not?
No, I went in there and I told them. They know the deal.
Do they? Okay. All right. That's single girl's life. Whatever, Diana. We don't want to hear about your single girl's life. So the way this works, Kim, is if you have your live on, then you can kind of see the comments as well. But I'll also kind of talk about, I'll read some of the comments and things as they come up.
Okay.
I'm hoping we get a nice little audience tonight. And like I said, I hope we get some triplet moms on here as well. That would be nice. So if any triplet moms are coming on, we sure would like for you to say hello. And let us know that you're on, and even if you're not a triplet mom, just come on and say hello. If you've got more than one kid, well, you know, we don't want to hear your stories or hear how hard it is if you have a kid that's like 6 and then another one that's like 20. We don't care. we don't care about your almost. I don't know how you feel, Kim, but I feel like how old are your kids now?
They are 11.
Okay, yeah. So you practically have adults.
Yeah. You know what? Pretty much.
Yeah.
When you have triplets and they can pretty much feed themselves and entertain themselves, they're mini adults. So
yeah,
I'm good with that.
Can they cook meals?
You know what? They can pour cereal and
nice.
Make toast.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They will not starve. They know where the fruit is and the goldfish crackers. So
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who needs more? Is there any nutritional value in goldfish crackers at all? Is there any?
I don't know. Probably not.
Hey, you know what? They're a carb.
Okay.
Um,
It's better than candy or cookies.
It is. It is. It is.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
All right.
think.
Well, let's get started. I am Lisa Gilbert. You guys already know that. This is my special guest and good friend, Kim Miller, and we're just going to kind of start with how we met and the craziness of raising triplets. And if you are not a parent of triplets, please still join us and stick around because we're going to laugh a lot. And if you've got more than one child, and particularly if your kids are close in age, then yeah, you could definitely feel the triplet ticks. Yeah. So in 2011, I got married and then pregnant on my honeymoon with triplets. And I don't know how far along I was, but I was probably already maybe 4 months, which was halfway because I only carried my kids for 7. And so it's probably like maybe 3 or 4 months. And somebody at work said to me, there's another triplet mom. And I was like, whoa, that's amazing. Another triplet mom, like, that worked for the county. Kim and I will both work for the county of San Diego. And so that was a great thing. Another social worker had triplets. She already had her triplets, right? I think your kids were probably like 3 when I was born, right?
3.
So super excited. And so I emailed or called. I did something, but I probably sounded I probably sounded like a crazy person. All I knew is that there was somebody out there that I could physically talk to in person. And I'm like, when can I come to your office? Because I got a lot of questions about this litter that's growing inside my belly. So we get
definitely scary.
I call. You were so great. You were so gracious. And we set up an appointment very quickly. I would have probably just come and waited at your door anyway if you didn't set something up with me quick enough. And as we're talking, we kind of were, just introducing ourselves to each other, where we work with the county and that kind of stuff. And you said to me, somebody who my husband works with is also having triplets. And I was like, oh, it's a small world. That's pretty awesome. And I was like, yeah. And you're like, yeah, Oliver. His name's Oliver. And I'm like, hold up. Wait a minute. And I said, Gilbert? I called my husband Oliver. That's his middle name. I said, Gilbert? And you said, yeah. And I was like, yeah, interesting. And that'd be my husband. I mean, what are the odds of that?
Yeah, it's crazy. I just remember coming into my office and I had a red light on my phone saying I had a message. So I'm clicking the message and it's like, hi, my name is Lisa. And I don't know if you know me, but I'm having triplets. And if you're the Kim that also has triplets, please give me a call. And I was just dying because definitely. If you were like about 4 months, I think the first 3 months of my pregnancy. Now, your pregnancy was way different than mine. So you got pregnant on your honeymoon. And so, Tim and I actually had tried for 2 years and we were on our last go of infertility treatment. And, the doctor told us we had less than a 5% chance of having triplets. They put 3 fair to good embryos in, and they said the success of 1 staying was like 33%. But don't worry, you have less than 5% chance of triplets. And lo and behold, I went in for my ultrasound. First of all, I got a call 2 weeks later, and I was like elated that they said it was positive because my first 2 didn't go through, and it was devastating every time. But I'm thinking, yay, 1 baby, like we are good. We're golden. I'm like the happiest person ever. We were hoping for 2. We go in and there's 3. And we were like, 3 what? Because
3 what?
I had less than 5. I mean, we were so shocked. Even though the doctor put in 3 embryos, we never thought, in a million years that 3 would take. And so I was in shock for a good 3 months. But I think after the 3rd month, I'm like, okay, we're having triplets. Like, okay, we're doing this. So I can imagine. So listening to that phone call was just like, yeah. Okay, yeah. You're having triplets. You guys came over, I think, the next weekend to see our 3-year-olds like running around.
You were potty training at the time.
They were potty training, yes.
And I remember that one of them came out with no clothes on, because that's what potty training looks like.
Yeah.
And my husband was like, okay. I think Loris and I just sat there like, like freaking out. And you guys were just like, hey, go put some pants on. You can't. Good job. I'm glad you went pee-pee. Now go put some pants on. And we're like,
and I'm sure they were probably climbing on stuff and running around, and but by the time they're 3, you are over it. As long as they are not starting fires, breaking anything, it's like you're over it. You really are. So, we were happy. We hadn't lost any.
Yeah.
Everybody was still good. We still had all 3 of them, and they were potty training.
Yeah. Well, I just remember that I really just wanted to find out what this was. What was it going to look like for me? Like, you'd already been there, and delivered, and you were in the process of potty training, like your kids are up and walking and talking and craziness. Let's do a couple of comments here. I hope I'm saying your name right. Do you know who that is?
Renee.
Is it Renia? Renee.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm sorry, but her kids stay naked. Yeah. If my kids could stay naked, they would probably stay naked. They probably would. Absolutely. Renee. I hope I got it right. I'm terrible with names. Thank you for joining. Are yours? She's got triplets. Hers are 2, and she's already over it.
For sure.
Yes. Amy says, I don't think I got over the shock of twins till my boys were like 10. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. So let's talk a little bit about kind of what this process was for you. I went 7 months and 5 days, and I didn't have a lot of problems. They put me on bed rest the last month, and I was like out. I mean, they wanted me on my back, except to go get up and go pee and come back. They wanted me on my back. I did not have an appetite after the first month. And I went in, my husband and I were going on a missions trip. And so we actually went to the doctor early just to say, hey, can you check to see what's going on in there, because we're leaving the country. Just, wanted to make sure it was okay for me to leave the country. It was very early on in the pregnancy. And we went in, and I always wanted twins because I was a twin and didn't get to spend my life with my twin. And so I was one of the twins. So I went in, and the doctor said, there's 2. And I was so oh my gosh, I couldn't even believe it. I had been praying for twins. I was so elated. And then we got back from our mission trip, where I ate, like, literally it was this beautiful buffet of food all the time. And everybody's sitting with these full plates. And I come back from the buffet with a piece of watermelon. And I'm talking like a bite. And I am like chipping away at this piece of watermelon. I could not eat for nothing. For nothing. It was horrible. So literally for 7 months, I had to drink Ensures. If I did Ensures with ice cream, that was a bonus. Loris would come in with like a half a graham cracker, just like put it on your tongue and try to do the best you can.
Let it melt.
Let it melt. I was at the doctor every week. The babies were growing just fine. It wasn't until, and then about a month, 6 months or so, they said, look, you got to be on your back, right? We don't want your cervix to open. We got to, we don't want to go in and put stitches and do all that stuff. Stay on your back. And that was tough. Like that was tough. You think a month on your back would be like an easy thing. And then I went in for the stress test. Do you remember the stress tests where they had to put the different sonograms or whatever on your belly? I should have downloaded a picture of it. And then they could never get the heartbeat. You'd lay there for like 30 minutes and they're like, oh, wait a minute, I think that's heartbeat A and B and we don't have an A, B, and C. It was horrible.
Yeah.
And then they said, looks like you're having contractions. Let's go in and check. And they kept me in for a week and said, we're going to schedule a C-section. And I went in. Yeah. And I was scared to death. I mean, it's like a roller coaster when you go tick, 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 tick. Nobody can hear you scream. You can't get that bar up. You can't. There's nothing you can. You're just tick, 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 tick. Just when you get to the top, you're dropping. Oh, you're dropping, sister. That's it. You can't. Somebody. I don't want the babies to come out. Like, there's nothing you can do. But I had great doctors. I laid on that table, and they pulled those babies out and called me by name, and here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
Your experience, however, was a bit different than that.
Yeah, it was. I had the morning sickness for the first 3 months, which I think is pretty normal, right? The first 3 months. But after that, I was okay. I was able to eat. I had, a good my 4th month was good. I went in, it was my last day at work, and I had already gone part-time already, doing maybe 20 hours just because 40 hours I was exhausted working. Yeah. One baby takes so much from you already, like 3 kids. It's very tiring on your body. Yeah. So it was my last day of work, and I was 23 weeks pregnant, and I went in for a regular doctor's appointment, and he was like, oh, can you feel that? You're having a contraction. And I was like, no. And he's like, yeah, you're having contractions, so you're going to start bed rest today. And I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me, because I still have to get a nursery put together. I had so much stuff to do. Like, this doctor just ruined it for me. Like, my last day of work, and I'm going on bed rest. Thankfully, I was home bed rest. Sent me home with a monitor. Tim put a little mini fridge in the room because he had to go to work, so because, again, the only time I could get up was use the restroom, and that was it. It was off your feet as much as possible.
Yeah.
So I did a home monitor for 2 weeks, and one of my regular monitoring sessions, I had more than 12 contractions in an hour. So the nurse calls me and says, hey, go drink some water, eat some protein, and test yourself again. Tested myself again, and still the same. And I knew it. I knew I was going in, and I knew I wasn't coming home. I remember watching, what was that dance episode? Not Dancing with the Stars, but it was like a competition. I was watching this show, and I'm sitting on the bed. I'm supposed to be packing a bag to go to the hospital. I know I'm not coming home. I didn't have a night bag packed. Next thing I know, my doctor's calling me, and he's like, where are you? I'm like, we're on our way. I was watching TV. I didn't want to go.
Oh, man.
I I didn't know the severity of it, to be perfectly honest with you. By the time I got there, I was getting hooked up right away. They had monitors on me like crazy, and I actually didn't know it. I was 25 weeks pregnant, and they were preparing to have me deliver, which I didn't know because they couldn't stop the contractions. They were putting every single amount of medication in me that they could. They gave me my steroid shots because I got so sick from the amount of medication they put in me. But in my head, I knew I wasn't having those babies. Like, I just figured this is where I'm going to be. This is what it is. I never knew. I didn't know till I left the hospital that they were preparing the room for me that day, because they were like, we thought you were going to have those babies when you came in here. And I was like, what?
And how big would they have been then? How big would they have been?
Gosh. You know, I remember another doctor coming in with like this form for me to sign, for Tim and I to sign, that if we delivered, that we gave them permission to basically do like scientific research. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, it was just, it was crazy. And I was just so delirious from all the medication by then. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he was like, okay, we'll come back later. But I think like 28 weeks is the minimum that they want you to deliver at. And like I said, in my head, I knew I wasn't going to have those babies, but I was in the hospital since week 25 until I gave birth. So 3 months.
3 months you were in the hospital.
Yeah. 3 months. And so you talk about that stress test. I was in there. I was having it every single week. And they put all 3 monitors.
Oh,
and it
that's
took them forever to find all 3 heartbeats. And by the time they found them all, if one moved, they came back in and had to start it over.
Yeah.
And by
horrible.
then, you were having horrible contractions because they had all these things on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was,
those stress tests were horrible.
Yeah. It was a long 3 months, but I'm going to tell you right now, mindset kept me there, positivity, and I was just grateful for every day. I think 1 week of bed rest there at that hospital, and I was in tears. Tim would come after work and visit me, and I cried, and I was like, I want to go home. Like, I want to go home. I don't want to be here anymore. And I think the very next day we toured the NICU. And when we toured the NICU, we saw the little babies down there that were 28 weeks, that were 29. And it totally changed my perspective on everything. And every day after that, I was grateful for another day that they were in my belly and I didn't give birth to them, But
you have to almost stay like it's a very, after I gave birth to mine, they were in the NICU for how long were they in there? 12 days. 12 days. And nobody prepares you to have your kids and leave the hospital without them. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, I cried and cried and cried and cried, and then, you spend all this time and all this effort, and it was tough. Like, it was really, really, really tough. It was really tough.
Yeah.
And then they called us. And they said, "Hey, we're ready for ready for Zoe to come home." We were like, "Huh, okay." You go from crying, and then they're like, "Come get the first one." And we're like, "All right, we got this. I've been working with kids my whole life. Come on now, we got this." You bring that little tiny baby home, this isn't an 8-pound baby. This is a 4-pound baby.
They're small.
They're small. Like, literally, this is it. And we get her and we put her in the little bassinet right next to the bed. And she sounded like a pigeon. I couldn't get her to sleep. I'd bundle her up and then she'd Houdini it. And I'd be like, well, there she is, like a penguin, or like a what did I say? Not a penguin. Anyways, she sounded like a bird, and she just, her arms were just out of that thing. I'm like, how? You're 4 pounds. I am like manhandling you and wrapping you in this blanket, and then 10 minutes later, she's like, oh my gosh, it's horrible. Then they called us the next day and said, baby number 2.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh my gosh. Like I was like, okay, because I can fit 2 babies in the bassinet. I was like, all right, we're still good. I can figure this out. We went and got baby number 2. Then they called us the next day for baby number 3. We didn't answer the phone. Don't judge me. It sounds horrible, but we were so scared. Oh my gosh, we were so scared. Yeah. So they called us. They called us a couple times.
You're automatically outnumbered. You are outnumbered.
Right.
Since
there you go. And again, a 9 pound, an 8 pound, 7 pound baby, like that's hard enough. But I'm telling you now, like 2 little 4 pound babies, and going into the hospital and watching the nurses handle them. I mean, the nurses are just handling them like, and I'm, you're super fragile with this little thing, and the nurses are like, yeah, no, it's good. Just.
So and they tell you like they're in the NICU, so they tell you not to get so focused on like all the heart monitors and listening and all that, but mine were in there for 2 weeks, and you get fixated. You start to like say, okay, are they doing okay? Because something was different with the monitor, right? So you get used to that. And they told me, so you're lucky, girl, because they told me Ian will probably come home first, and then Maya, and then Jillian, because she was the tiniest at birth. And we're like, okay, cool. No. They called us and said, they're ready to come home. I said, which one?
Which one?
we brought all 3 home.
Which one?
Yes. There's no sleep when they're babies.
No.
None.
No. And you're right. Sleep. You call when you can't be there, because you can't be there. You think you can just be there. You're just gonna go when they open and go when they close. Like you can't, because particularly if you already have one at home. For us, we already had one at home or 2 at home, so it was difficult to. Plus, you're recovering from a C-section. Like there's a lot. There's a lot that goes on. Lauren says that hers are 2.5. Let me see. Mine are 2.5 and have a 4-month-old bonus baby. So currently looking for the nearest Advil. Advil? You need to be looking for the closest nanny.
I was
That's crazy.
Yes, nanny works too.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine. Well, Godspeed, Lauren, because holy girl. Yeah, that's crazy. That is, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Well, we got them all home, and we had a 1-bedroom condo at the time. So we put the crib in the living room. No, we put the crib in our room, because having them really right close to you, and then the 3rd one comes, and you're like, well, I can't put 3 of them in there. I mean, I probably could. So then I had to move them. It was just across the room, but it felt like I was moving them in a different house in another state. Like it seems so far away. And trying to sleep with newborns, it was impossible. It was impossible. The worry that comes with it is just, oh my gosh, it's horrible. It's horrible.
Well, our first night, I panicked because it was first night. They're all, we're supposed to be putting them to sleep. I'm not hearing any dings. There's no monitors, nothing, right? So you're looking at them. You're making sure they're breathing.
Yes.
And Ian actually turned blue for a few seconds, and I panicked. And I was like, he's not breathing. He's not breathing. I'm like looking at Tim, and then all of a sudden he just started breathing again. I was like, what the what? Like,
Oh.
did they mean to send all three home right now? Because, you know, I mean, you know, I gave birth at 34 weeks. So technically they came home at 36 weeks, you know, and like you said, they're so tiny still.
Yeah.
And
oh my gosh,
you're just paranoid. But I do remember though, I think after a couple weeks, we were like, we didn't have them in the bassinet in our room anymore. Their breathing was just too loud. So we put them in their room. We needed sleep. I don't care if it was an hour. We needed something.
Yeah.
And we put them in the next room where all three cribs were. They all shared the same nursery for the longest time, up until toddlers. And I would have the baby monitor there. Girl, after the first night, I turned that baby monitor off because the breathing was too loud. They weren't even crying. It was just the little baby noises. I was like, stop. I need to sleep.
Yeah, it's a lot. And you don't think it is because they're these tiny little things, but it's a lot. It's a lot. They make a lot of noise.
Yeah. And it's different because, you know, I just imagined my first pregnancy, and I was going to be doing the whole mirror over the face and, you know, just the best, like mom hover, you know, everything top grade. But when you have triplets, you are surviving.
Surviving.
You are in survival mode.
Well, and then let's talk about, you want to put your pants on and go check on them? Look, this is what it looks like in the Gilbert house. You want to put your pants on and check on the kids. The feeding and the breastfeeding was way more than I could really handle. It's feeding 3. So if you have your husband and you have you, and then if you have somebody that can come over during the day, it's finding somebody that it's finding someone who can come over at like midnight to like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. That's the toughest time. And so you feed, right? He holds one, I hold one. We've got another one over here that we've got, and you're trying to, I couldn't nurse. I was pumping and trying to give them as much, you know, breast milk as I possibly could. But it feels like you get up, you rest, you get up and pump, and then you feed them and then get them to sleep and then hopefully get yourself to sleep. But then you've got to get up and pump before they get up so that you can feed them again and then try to go back to sleep and then get up and pump before they get up. I mean, it's horrible. I mean, and I say it's horrible just because it feels pretty horrible at the time. Kim said it's so hard. Twins first, then her son. Boy, so hard. They were 3 pounds, 3.7, and then 6 weeks early. Oh yeah, and scary.
So scary.
It's so scary. It is incredibly scary. Sharon says, I don't know how you guys did it. She had trouble with 2 15 months apart. I feel bad for you. I bet it was you needed help 24/7. You bet. I still need help 24/7, and mine are 8. I mean, it's one of those things where Doris and I decided. I don't know what you guys did with your sleep, but I remember, Kim, that I called you once, and I asked you about how you shower. You remember that? And you told me.
Tim went back to work after 2 weeks. He took 2 weeks off, and he went back to work. So I was home by myself during the day. He had to sleep at night. because he had to go to work in the morning. So I took like what I called the overnight shift with the feedings once he went back to work. And then I stayed up during the day. And then when he came home from work was my time to try to sleep.
Right.
So you have to just find time, and you figure things out. But yeah.
We took shifts. That was probably, I would say, the most difficult time as infants, because we did like 4-hour shifts, right? Where somebody would sleep for 4 hours and the other one would be up with the kids. And mine was like in the middle of the night. And I felt like it was hard because that was the time when I couldn't get anybody to come over. You know what I mean? Like, you've got a couple of people, but to have somebody comment, everybody wants to come over during the day and see your kids. I mean, my kids are 8, people still want to see them, right? So everybody wants to do that. Who doesn't want to come hold a baby? 1, 2, or 3, like somebody wants to come and hold the baby. The part was when I had a couple of girls that came a couple of times, and they stayed, like literally they stayed like 12 until probably 5 in the morning. And we just all held a baby and all fed a baby. Those were the best days, but we couldn't afford to hire somebody to come in for a few hours because those people, they charge a lot, and we didn't have that. So I think that was really the toughest time for me, was when I was just, and then trying to sleep when your kids are in the other room, and Loris is pretty good, but it's still scary. It's still scary. It's still scary trying to sleep and not get up and check them and see how they're doing.
And you know how hard it is too. And Tim, works construction all day, and he comes home, and it was his turn to watch the kids so I could try to get some sleep. And I would wake up, and I remember one night I came out, and he was on the floor with all 3, 2 in his arms, 1 on a blanket in front of him, and they were just all crying. And he just looks up at me. And I'm like, oh, babies, what's going on? Why are you crying? And they just like all stopped. They like heard my voice and just like all stopped.
Nice.
But it's just that it's that fear, like too, of just being by yourself with 3 crying babies. Like, I cried the night before he had to go back to work. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with 3 babies by myself? When do they all start crying? Like, what am I going to do? Well, they all cry, and you figure it out. I mean, you have to.
It's hard though when they're crying. I mean, even if you just have one kid and it's your first, it's your kid's crying is really, it's tough. But I remember when I asked you how to shower, like, how am I going to shower? And you said you put all the kids in car seats, and you set the car seats in front of the bathroom door, and you got in the shower. And it was brilliant. But those are the tips. Those are the tips that you need from other triplet moms. I mean, our triplet group that we have on Facebook is so great because there's so many women that are on there asking so many questions, and we, it's wonderful because I feel like we can share in all of the rejoicing, all the great things, and be kind of champions for each other. But when I would call you and be like, all right, you even gave me this apparatus where the bottle would be here, but it had this tube that went into their mouth. And I was like,
yes, I remember.
Who made these? These are awesome. And you don't.
It was like a bottle siphoner. I totally forgot about those.
Oh, that was a lifesaver, because then what I could do was, right, then I could put them in their car seats at mealtime and feed them, and then still watch. Because when they're that young, I mean, you got to feed them. Like, you can't, I mean, you got to, you know what I did? I'm going to patent this. I'm patenting this, everybody. So don't be trying to steal my idea and then go on surfing. The tubes for the those tubes. There was a bang from the other room. The noodle that you use in the swimming pool.
Yeah.
You remember the noodles? And I cut the bottom off. Then I cut some holes. And then I just put the kids in a boppy. And it's time to go yell at some kids. Can you close the doors? And I put the tube across. And I just put the bottle in the kids' mouths. Oh my gosh. It was the greatest. It was the greatest thing ever. I mean, you still got to be right there, but it definitely gave me an opportunity when they were, this was when they were certainly, a couple months old, but it really, really helped so that I could wash dishes and still see them, on the floor there with that noodle and the bottles right there. Oh my gosh, it was the greatest thing ever. It was the greatest thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
they have like bottle slings. It's stuff that you don't think about when you have one baby. Like, why do you need a bottle sling when you have one baby? You know what I mean? Why do you need to cut a pooled noodle to feed one baby? It's when it's you and 3 or 2 and 3. You're
outnumbered. You're 2 and 3. You're still outnumbered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need help.
Yeah, you need help.
It's after bedtime, honey.
Yeah, get in bed. It's a good thing I'm not trying to go Hollywood. Put his shirt on. You're welcome, America. Yeah, good stuff. I propped lots of bottles. Definitely showers with the car seats. Oh my gosh! If anybody else has got any tips, any triplet moms or regular moms, no, I shouldn't say regular moms. They're all regular moms. Any triplet moms, any singleton moms, twin moms, multiple moms, dads out there. We'd love to see some dads on here. Kind of not making them just on my screen, but the ones that address. What kinds of things did you do? What did you do about? Did your kids have pacifiers?
My boy never did. One of my girls full on pacifier. 2 of my girls took pacifiers, but one really took to it, which I was okay with.
Yeah.
Like, because it kept her quiet, and it was one of those things where when it was time to start like cutting the night feedings down, when they were, how many months are they? 5 months, where you could start cutting the feedings down, and I could just put that pacifier in their mouths and it would suffice them,
It's I don't know who's Zachary. Hey, Zachary. Oh, beautiful. I'm married, Zachary. Your time is up. Kristen said I feel outnumbered with my twins because I am. I've been solo since I was pregnant. Yeah. You know what it's like then to be outnumbered. And let me tell you what, you gotta prop those bottles. You got the pacifier. I mean, we had a rule about the pacifiers where we didn't allow pacifiers out of bed. So when they came out of their crib, pacifiers came out into the crib, and then whatever else. And it just really worked for us. I think what I didn't want is to have my kids be like 10 and we're at the mall and they're wanting their pacifier. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want that.
Of course.
And so we did that. And then when it was time for us to be done with the pacifiers, what I did was I went and took the pacifiers and I cut the pacifier, the sucky part, I cut it off. And I left it in their crib.
So it didn't work anymore.
And when they got in their cribs, I was like, oh my gosh, your pacifiers are broken. The boys didn't ever have any problem at all. Zoe was still just, like, you can't really get a lot. Zoe was like, what happened to the tip of my pacifier? Like, she didn't say it, right? But her look was like, look, sucker, I know you did something with this pacifier. Don't act like the tip just fell off. We're talking about pacifier.
She was probably trying to mend it together. She was
Oh my
probably trying
gosh.
to fix it. You know, I still remember because it was traumatizing for me. But it was nap time, and it again, like we cut the path. It's like we're done. Like my son was easy. My other daughter, she was pretty easy, but it was just my one. And she was hard. She cried for that thing. And it was nap time, and it's like we gotta stop giving her the pacifier. So we went out and we bought them. What did we get them? Soccer balls, I think. They wanted soccer balls. And so, like, instead of your pacifier, here's your soccer ball. And she held it. And
oh my God.
Cried herself to sleep. Broke my heart. But, you know, that was it. And they were finally done. But, yeah, the cutting didn't work. They didn't believe me. She didn't believe me. It was the one.
Yeah.
She went and she found another one. You know, it's like, okay.
Yeah, we had to make sure that we got rid of every possible, like, we had to figure that piece out. But I think it went about 3 days. It was tough for about 3 days, and and then that was it. And I think honestly, I feel very lucky that it didn't take. It could have been it could have been harder than that. Kristen said, "Same girl." Yeah, it's. And I think the other thing too, right? So then we get from, then we go the stage where we gotta make bottles and clean bottles, and it feels like all the time. You are nonstop making bottles, nonstop cleaning bottles. And we had the acid reflux, and so we did the Dr. Brown or whatever bottles. So it wasn't just the bottle that you had to clean out; it was that little blue thing in there that you had to clean out. And all I remember thinking is, I cannot wait till I do not have to make another dang bottle again.
Yeah.
And then they're in their high chairs, and you're feeding them the baby food. And I remember feeding the baby food and then thinking, man, I wish I had the bottles. The bottles were so much easier. You make the bottle, hand them their bottle, they go lay down someplace in the living room and feed themselves. Oh, those days. And then the finger food. You add on the finger food.
Pitcher. So I would have a pitcher of formula made as well, because they had to do the NeoSure, which was like the premium formula. That was hella expensive, by the way. And then I would pre-make their bottles. So we still use the ones from like the NICU. I don't, like those size ones, the 4 ounces.
Yeah.
And we would just line the top shelf of our fridge with bottles. So we would have them for the day. I mean, you learn stuff like that because it does. It drives you insane making that many bottles a day. I mean, think about it. Triplets, they eat every 3 hours. That's 24 bottles a day.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Kristen is asking, did anybody successfully breastfeed triplets? I did not. I know many that did. How did you do with that?
Yeah, no. So I pumped for 3 months. So I would do, the NeoSure and as much, as I could of my own. And then, of course, evenly separated out between 3. You got to be fair, right?
Yeah.
And, but that was my nightly routine is I would feed them, change, burp them, change diapers, put them down, and I would pump. And then maybe like by the time I was done with all 3, 20 minutes later, I was feeding them, burping them, changing diapers. Because you did it like maybe 10, 15 minutes apart because you couldn't do all 3 at once. But after 3 months, I couldn't do it anymore. I was so tired and sleep deprived. And you feel like a bad mom. You do.
Yeah.
Because you hear people that successfully do it. And I just couldn't, and had to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Because it's hard.
I think, too, it's part of this platform for me is just, us a lot of, we may know one or two triplet moms in our lives, or, most of us, if you've got one kid or two kids and you've had one at a time, and, you've got friends that have kids, but I feel like what happens is that you see all these parents and people on here that are successfully breastfeeding their kids and whatever it is that they're doing with all three of their kids at once, which is wonderful. One of the gals in our dinner group, and I was really hoping that she was going to be on here tonight, but she had triplets and then she had twins.
Yes,
Colleen, and I'm telling you, that woman. That woman is amazing. We got to get her on here. Like, she's just, she makes me feel like a bad mom. And it's not her fault. They are just people that are just made to stay home and be home and do stuff. Like, I played Sorry with Zoe today. I played a board game with Zoe. And let's see how accomplished I feel that I played a board game with my kid today. Felt great.
Yeah. And, and I would like to say she had her triplets and then she chose to go and have twins. So, yeah, that makes you feel like a bad mom.
You're making us all look bad. What are you doing?
God, Colleen.
But crazy thing, this is the thing, though. Like, that's what she's built for. And I think that what we as moms and dads need to realize is, as a parent, if you're not doing any harm, right? And you and I, we're social workers. We know parents that do harm. If you're not doing your kids any harm, then just give yourself a break about what you can do. That's it. That's all you can do. And I often will tell the boys, they've got each other, but Zoe, she's my only girl, right? You've got the opposite. You've got two girls and a boy. And so I do have to sometimes say to Zoe, okay, we played Sorry already. Maybe no more Sorry, or Monopoly, or Checkers. Just no more games. No more games today, right? Or don't you have a friend you can go play with? Like, it just is what it is. And Facebook will kill you because everybody's doing all these great things. Nobody's posting pictures of their kids, of them choking their kids out. Nobody's doing that.
No. And you have to be patient with yourself. You just have to be patient and just take one day at a time. And you got to let go of the guilt, because you know what? You're doing the best job that you possibly can. Yeah. And, I didn't breastfeed or pump more than 3 months, but you know what? My kids are pretty darn okay. You know, and you have to just be okay with that for sure. There's a lot of guilt. There's a lot of guilt with multiples for sure, because you don't feel like you're giving enough attention to each one that they would need, or if they were a single child, because you don't do the one-on-one like you would with, a younger kid and an older kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I remember I had a ton of guilt when they were little and toddlers. And it's like, we don't spend enough time just doing that one-on-one with them. And it's crazy because I would go to the store and I would take, say, Ian with me. We went to Home Depot to do some Father's Day shopping when he was like 5 years old. And I didn't realize how much that kid talked. He talked and talked and talked and talked. But I think because he had just me. He didn't have the competition of his sisters.
Yeah.
And so that really opened my eyes to that they need that time individually, because we do tend to just clump them. And a lot of it, though, be patient with yourself and just let it go, because you feel very guilty for sure, especially when they are younger.
Yeah. And when you have to work and then somebody else comes in, and even if it's the best of the person that comes in, I always felt bad because I didn't feel bad about going to work. I'm not a stay-home mom. That's it. I did not feel bad. In fact, I've been retired for March, April, May, June, almost 4 months now. And I have a little part-time gig that I get to go to two times a week. And the boys are like, "Oh, bye, Mom." And Zoe's like, "Is it a work day? Are you going to work today? Today's the day. Do you think I could go?" No, I don't think you should go. No, I don't at all. Well, why do you have to go to work? I thought you were retired. Well, I need a break. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I may not even go to work. I may just drive around for 8 hours. Oh, I lost her. I lost you. All right. Well, maybe she'll come back on. I lost her. Work is a break. We'll take some comments from the crowd. Yes, Michelle, work is definitely a break. Oh my gosh. It is a break. It is incredibly difficult. Karen says, for sure, guilt is so horrible. Oh, there we go. Hi, welcome back. Just reading some comments. Yeah, guilt is so horrible. Love those kids. Loving those kids is what they want. We're so hard on ourselves. You're right. And that here is what this is. This is what this whole, I feel like a bad mom, and just conversation and no judgment. The week before we talked about video games and the use of video games. And, you know, one lady was like, "I let my kid play video games for 6 hours. Am I a bad mom?" No, you are not. No. If you needed to do what you needed to do around the house and your kid was on the video game, then that's what that is. I'm not here to say that anybody's a bad mom, unless of course you're causing harm to your kid, and then maybe you're a bad mom. But you gotta survive. Right? You gotta do what you gotta do. Your kids are 10 now. What are you guys doing with yourselves now that you can't really go out and be places? What are you guys doing?
You know, so my kids will be 12 this month, and you know, I'm teleworking, which I'm thankful for, so I'm able to stay home, but I'm working. Like, I am legit 8:30 to 5:30. I can't do anything with them, for them. I am so thankful they're old enough to do what they need to do. They don't ask me, you know, for food or for drinks. They can fend for themselves. You know what I mean? So for that, I'm very thankful. My kids are on their phones. They're on Xbox. They Zoom with their friends because they miss them. You know, it's how they're keeping in contact with them. You know, Tim and I wrote a schedule as soon as school was over because I felt like that's all they did, though. It was straight phones, Xbox, and I'm like, we need some enrichment. Yeah. So from this time to this time, we're off our phones. But man, Lisa, I'll tell you, they'll say, "What time is it? What time is it?" I can hear them. I'm working in the living room. I'm not like in another house. But they are so ready for that, you know, that time to be up to get back on their phones. You know, and we're definitely going to rework the schedule a little bit more because I need them doing something else, but it's hard. It's hard right now, for sure.
Yeah. I'm going to show a picture of your kiddos and see if I can do this right. There we go. Hope you guys can see that. Oh, they may not be able to see that on Facebook. Maybe. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I can see it.
There's your kiddos. And then here's mine.
Aww.
Yeah. They look so cute. And then drive you nuts what they do. All right, well, we are going to it's just about 9 o'clock and I want to respect everybody else's time. My husband says kids can fend for themselves. Husband needs your attention. Whatever. You know what? There's a TV and a PlayStation and a refrigerator full of food. Fend for yourself. 53-year-old husband. So we're going to come back next week. Kim and I haven't asked you yet, but we're going to come back next week. I'm really hoping to have a couple more moms on there. to kind of talk about their experiences, mostly with the older kids. I think for us, yours are older. Yours are, I can't believe your kids are maybe 12. And mine are 8.5. And yeah, I wish that I could say, it's funny because people ask all the time, like, is it easier? And yeah, there's a whole lot that's easier. There's a lot that's easier. I mean, definitely. Like my kids they can feed themselves, they can dress themselves, right?
Go to the bathroom.
They can go to the bathroom by themselves. None of my kids do. Yep, they can shower on their own. Yeah,
I mean all those things, are huge milestones, right?
Yes.
And you're just so thankful.
Yeah.
But there's everything that gets easier, there's something that gets harder because mine are going to be 12, and the things that they're hearing and seeing in the world right now and that their friends are experiencing that they're telling me is heartbreaking, so it's how do you start addressing those issues?
Yeah, it is interesting what they bring home from the playground, right? Because your kids are going to bring home, and you can talk a little bit more about this next week, but your kids are definitely going to bring home what the households of all of their classmates.
Yeah.
If you're a parent that cusses around your kids and at your kids and to your kids and away from your kids and with your friends while your kids are around, great. Just know that that's coming on the playground.
Yeah.
Right? My kid will tell you in a minute. Like if you ask my kid, what does your mom sound like at bedtime? What you're going to get is, I love you very much. I'm going to rub all your bellies, and then we're going to go to sleep. And that's the first time around. If I have to come back in, then what you're going to hear is, you better get to bed. This is it. I have no patience for you. I don't want to do this anymore. It is time for you to go to bed. You think you're playing PlayStation tomorrow? You ain't playing no PlayStation tomorrow. No tablet, no PlayStation, no TV. You better go to bed. That should be the second time around, right? But all that comes out on the playground.
Yeah.
It does.
It's plug in your phones. It's bedtime, and then if I'm up a half hour later and they're still on their phones, guess what? You're losing your phone tomorrow. I'm not doing this. We're not seeing this every single night, So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it's different. You're in a different place now where I think when your kids are, like you said, hearing about what's happening with other kids in their homes and kind of how to maneuver around that. So, yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that next week, and hopefully we can get some triplet moms on to discuss their woes and good stuff. I mean, I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't. I am 53 with 8-year-olds, and I am exhausted every day. Before I wake up, I'm exhausted. My dreams are exhausting. Everything is just exhausting all the time. But but I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade
it. Tim was just saying the other day that he's pretty sure that when the triplets were born, like the first 2 years of their life have just literally sucked every bit of energy out of us, and we will forever be exhausted.
Forever. Yeah. Yep. I think that is true. And if you are somebody that just has one child and you're always exhausted, it's okay.
No.
Don't feel bad.
No, you're not tired. You're not exhausted.
I don't know.
No, I'm kidding.
I'll tell you what, it's a lot easier with one kid to send them off to a friend's house. I have got to find, I got to find at least 2, someplace for the boys to go and then someplace for Zoe to go. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to try to get a day off with nobody in the house. Definitely. Anyway, all right. Kim, okay. So Kim, I want you to talk just a couple of minutes about Airborne.
Arbonne.
Arbonne, sorry. I can't read. I've been drinking it. That's what I've been calling it.
You're drinking the Kool-Aid. Well, yeah. So about a year ago, I had my really good friend Michelle. She was selling Arbonne, had no idea what it was because it's not like an advertised product. It's actually global leading company of health and wellness. And I was like, okay, sure, I'll buy a couple things because I'm all about supporting my friends and supporting small businesses. Never really thought much of it. I tried out these energy fizz sticks because anything that has the word energy in it,
Right.
all of it, right? So I'm like, I'll have that. And just really use that. Oh, by the way, this is.
She's been doing that since they were little kids. I remember stories about them up there in that cabinet. I remember.
Yes. She actually was the first one that learned to climb the kitchen counter, and she would throw food or candy and snacks down to the other two that didn't know how to climb up.
I remember those stories.
And she's still doing it. But anyways, so I started using their products just because they were working. Like, I was feeling better, and I ate like crap, and I was always tired. And that was mainly because I felt like I had triplets and I was getting older, and that's what happens when you have triplets and you get older, you're always tired. But it really had to do with how I was fueling myself. And so I started using these products and finding really great results with them. And so I just started sharing them with others. And so I've been consulting with Arbonne for about a year. My 1-year anniversary passed in June. And it's just been an amazing company because the people are incredibly supportive and uplifting. It's like having your group of triplet moms, you know, that you just bond with automatically.
Yeah.
And it's just a very uplifting company. And I've really worked on like my self-growth and self-development over this past year, and wanting to better myself. You know, ultimately, because I do have 11-year-olds, and I want to make sure that I'm here for them as long as I possibly can, you know.
All right. Well, if you're interested in those products, there's a lot. There's a lot that she offers. I'm doing some shakes that I do in the morning, and they're great. So I can tell you that. If you're interested, she's at Kim Miller is her name. You can find her on Facebook. Trifecta07508 at gmail.com. It's probably going across the ticker there. So if you want to get a hold of Kim and talk to her about all kinds of stuff. There's supplements, and I don't know, that fizzy energy sounds very good. That sounds real good. Thank you all for joining, and those of you that didn't watch live but watch it later, we'll see you here next week. God bless you and have a good week.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Bye, Kim.
Lisa.
Bye.
Bye.